So in order to start a business valuation, it's very simple to get rolling. We're going to simply start by entering in a business name. We're going to enter in a zip code, and we're also going to specify the industry that we want to utilize. So for our purposes here, we're just going to keep it simple. We're going to use our sample Beta International sample client. We're going to put in a zip code, and this could be specific to your location. For our region, we'll use a local zip code here. And then we're going to specify the industry. This is going to allow us to search from over 900 different NICUS codes, industry-specific codes to the business that you may be trying to value. And it's very important to get the correct, choose the correct business NICUS code and correct industry, because it will drive a lot of the information that we are going to be calculating for you as we go through the business valuation process, through KPIs, through understanding how the business is valued compared to different levels of inventory and debt level, etc. That is all going to be driven by the particular industry code that you choose. So we try to make it easy for you to choose that particular NICUS code by giving you a keyword search. Notice we're searching commercial. And in our purposes here, we wanted to search a commercial manufacturing industry. And you'll notice just by simply typing in the word commercial, it immediately starts beginning to bring us some results back, and we can easily find that commercial and service industry, machinery manufacturing industry that our business is part of. Once we specify those three pieces of information, we hit continue, and what the system will do for us is try to match us up with one of the businesses that are in our database of over 34 million pre-valued businesses in the U.S. And the idea here is that if we were entering a real business to our system, it would match us up with that business and give us a pre-valuation estimate. And for the most part, we do a great job finding that. In our case here, we entered in a bogus business, so it's obviously not going to be able to find a match for us, a proper one, but it got us as close as possible. We have a choice. I could value the company. It'll bring over some basic information, maybe the address, always a pre-value estimate. For our case here, we're going to say, no, this is not the right match. Let's value a different company, and then we'll move forward and go through the rest of our 7-step process. And here we are in step 2. So this is where we start digging into some of the particulars for our business. And this step 2 is going to give you the opportunity to enter in some high-level contact information type stuff. So, for example, who's your client that you're working with, the key contact, what's their address, phone number, email address, etc. Very self-explanatory. The most important section that I could suggest you make sure is always filled out here is this business structure drop-down section. And it's going to give you the choice of either specifying from an LLC or a partnership, S Corp, C Corp, etc. Choosing which business structure or how that business is structured is important because we will specify the tax form that your client is utilizing when they file their taxes, and through that information we'll give you some helpful hints along the way to help make the data entry process fluid and easy. As we move forward, we hit the next steps button, and it brings us into the heart and soul of our business valuation engine. This is the data entry process where we're gathering that hard financial data that's going to drive the valuation figure. And you'll notice as we're entering the information, we get past revenue and pre-tax income, our algorithm begins to run, and a pre-valuation estimate begins to populate at the top right corner of the screen. And as we continue to enter more information, that number becomes more and more accurate. What we're looking at here on this screen are a couple of different things. First off, we're presented with 3 years worth of data that you could utilize. And we're asking you to specify either 2016 projected values, 2015 projected values, or 2014 projected values. And the question always comes up from advisors, well, if I don't have all this information, what do I do? Or, you're asking me for 2016 projected values, but either the advisor or the client that they're working with isn't comfortable with saying, okay, well, it's June, I have numbers for half of the year. I don't want to just go out on a limb and say, I think we're going to see this from here until December. I would rather work with hard data that is historical, that I have available in tax forms from 2015 and 14. What do I do? We give you the ability to enter in these 3 different years worth of information so that we can really get an accurate business valuation for you, but it's not necessary to make sure that all 3 years are available. If you wanted to do a scenario where you only have 2015 data and you wanted to specify that, our best practice is always pick 1 year. get 1 solid year worth of information and fill that information out. In our case here, we wanted to run with 2016 projected data, but if I only had 2015, it would be okay for me to leave 2016 blank, fill out 2015's data, and utilize that. And that could be until I received historic information on 2014, or until the end of the fiscal year came around and I had final hard data for 2016. I can enter that. You can always build on that as you go later. But if you just have a starting point, running with 2015 itself and leaving 2016 blank is going to be okay, because our system will count 2015. Or the most current year you have data, it will count that as the current year and disregard the other year that doesn't have any data entered in. So you don't have to worry about that. It's just a great point to make sure we cover here. The other thing I wanted to bring up is to the left-hand side of each one of these data entry locations, you'll notice 2 icons. We have a question mark icon as well as a form, looks like a piece of paper, an icon that represents what should be a form. But this relates directly to what we were talking about on step 2 with business structure, and why it's so important to enter and make sure you have the correct business structure labeled out. We want to make sure that we're pointing you in the right direction as to where to get the information that you're looking for. And for some of these locations, officer compensation being probably the biggest one of those, the question always comes up, well, where do I find that data? What is included in here? How do I get this information? If you are, very experienced in business valuation, it may not be difficult for you as the advisor to understand that. But if you are putting this up on your website, you're making your white label page available for people to come through as prospective clients, this can be a really big help to make that process easy for them to get through this, as long as they have that tax form right alongside. So the form icon will show you exactly on that form which line items you need to go to find the information that we need to calculate your business valuation properly. Now, likewise, the little question mark to the right-hand side of that, that's simply going to break down in plain English exactly what we're looking for. So you have plain English explanation of that data entry field, as well as a play-by-play, line-by-line, roadmap as to where to get that information. You will see those icons as we move through the different financial information screens. As we hit next steps here, we're moving on to the asset section. And again, very similar to what we saw in income, 3 years worth of data. We'll see those intelligence listed out. And you'll notice as we continue to enter information, our business valuation continues to grow, continues to change, and become more and more accurate. The takeaway on this page that I wanted to speak to is at the bottom of the screen. And for those of you who've been on the system for a while and maybe have not had an opportunity to see some of our update webinars or seen some of the videos announcing some of our latest feature enhancements, this is one of the ones that came in the not too distant past. We have our Save for Later and our Delegate feature. These buttons are available on every screen of the 7-step process. And they're built to make it easy for not only you as the advisor, if you're going through this process with a client, to get back into the process or to make it available again, but also for that client who comes through here on their own, that prospect, who may hit one of these sections and say, okay, well, I had my income information down, maybe I entered in assets, but once I get to liabilities, I don't have any of this information. I need to go gather my information, gather the details, and come back to it at a later date. Save for Later allows them to simply send themselves an email. That email is going to contain a link that will say, continue your process here, and we will give them 7 days to get back into that process, pick up where they left off, and complete that data entry process. Very simple, very fluid, but the idea here is if they have to abandon it, we want to give them the opportunity to get back in and complete that as soon as they gather that information. The 7-day time limit also gives them a little bit of urgency to make sure that they are coming back in and not forgetting about it. Now, on a similar level, our Delegate feature gives your client the ability to delegate that responsibility, delegate the task of filling out this information, supplying that financial data to somebody who may have that rather than the business owner who might not be the one who deals with taxes or deals with the accounting of the firm, but gets the executive summary every year. This may be somebody that something they need to send to their accountant, to their CFO, or their business manager. That's the person who would have those forms readily available, understand everything very fluidly, and be able to get this completed in a very efficient manner. Delegate allows them to send a link similar to what to what we had with Save for Later, to another party to let them go through that process. This gives you a little more of a robust data location, so you can put in a little note about it, put their name in, specify another email address. But again, the link you send is only valid for 7 days. And the big difference when you use Save for Later versus Delegate, if we delegate this process out, the 7-step process will not have the scrolling valuation estimate at the top right corner of the screen. So if you farm this out to a business manager or CFO or somebody, they're not going to see that move as they enter data in. The only thing they're going to have is the open data entry field so they can complete the process. A little bit later on in the process here, we will show you where you can go as the advisor to not only send out your own access links, but also manage access links that have been sent out, whether that was by you previously or by your client as they were going through the process. All right, we're on the liability section here, and again, this is the final step of our data entry location. And again, you'll notice, again, it's very similar, 3 years worth of data, and the IntelliTips will follow you all the way through. Once we continue, we now hit into the last 2 steps of our 7-step process, and these are our dynamic sliders. Looking for some information that you're probably not going to find on the tax form. This is going to be qualitative information that your business owner should understand, should know, or they should be able to get this kind of information from their accountant or their business manager. But it's going to be talking about some concepts around the growth and the operations of their business. So you'll notice we have projected revenue growth, long-term EBITDA margin, as well as the % of business recurring. And this gives you a great opportunity, if you're an advisor walking through this with your client, you can work through a couple of scenarios with your client and have a great robust conversation about changes that the client could make, or some things that they may need to think about, especially in the operations tab, which is next. Things such as how much of your business comes from your top 3 clients, right? If it's 75%, maybe that's something that is going to control or have a difference on the value of your business if you are looking at a succession plan. Maybe you need to diversify a little bit more. These sliders allow you to have that real-time valuation change and show the client what those factors will mean to the actual business value. Our favorite one here, and our actually advisor favorite question here, is at the bottom. If the owner of the business decides to leave, how would that affect the business? And this is a key question when you're talking about a succession plan, looking at estate planning or retirement planning. What happens when you decide to leave the business? Is that business going to hold its value? Do we need to make different plans? Do you need to change the way you do things? These are great conversations that can be started just from these 2 tabs, the growth and operations tab alone. So if you are an advisor who works with a client and walks them through this process, having them come in the office or meeting them remotely, keep these questions in mind, because they can be a great opportunity for you to uncover some things that you may not have known without working these discussions into the 7-step process. So they definitely can help you facilitate that. All right, so once we hit this end section here, this is the last step of our process. And Save and Continue is the button we see at the screen. Notice Save and Delegate, those buttons do not show up anymore. Well, I mean, they're down at the bottom, but they're not going to have the same effect because we've completed the process. But what we're going to see here under Save and Continue is, if I am a prospect going through this, and I just go to your website, you've made the white label link available for me, you've emailed me a smart link, maybe you've talked to me as a prospective business owner, and I've gone through the process. Once I hit Save and Continue, I'm not going to see anything else. I'm not going to see a report. I'm not going to see any extra detail. What I will see is my business valuation flash, the equity value that we've seen throughout the process. It will flash in front of me, and also then let me know that somebody from your firm will be reaching out to me to schedule an opportunity to discuss the findings of your business valuation. So we give them an expectation. We show them one last time what the business valuation is, and we give them an expectation that somebody will be following up. Now, since we are logged in as the advisor, once we hit Save and Continue, now we get to see a lot of information that the prospective client doing this on their own wouldn't. And this takes us directly to our client dashboard, or our company dashboard. And this company dashboard gives you a lot of great information, can be a fantastic place for you to do a presentation for your client without even generating a report. So maybe you have an opportunity to interact with a prospective client who goes through the process, and it's at that point where you're maybe not sure whether they are, client material yet, but it's worth a consultation, but not worth the opportunity to print them out a report. You don't have to go that far. You can bring them in and use this as the presentation location. Here we're going to give you a display of their latest valuation amount, right? Latest estimated value. So there's our equity value displayed. We'll show you a valuation history over time. Since we just created this, notice it's just a straight line. Every single week we'll have this updated, and you'll be able to see trends and peaks and how that business is growing in value based on different multiples and different comparisons in their industry. We will track that for you automatically. Right below that, we have two new features that we've added as well, and these are some ranking abilities that we've added for you. And what this does, we're going to rank your business nationally and locally based off of the NICAS code that you've selected. So in your industry, how do you stack up among your peers? So you'll notice our national value shows you are number X out of however many in the entire country exist. And we'll also rank you locally. So based upon your zip code, you are number 3 out of 5 in our case here. But that is comparing you to anonymized IRS data. So we have the IRS database, anonymized business valuation information based on split up by industry. So we're going to compare your business to that and actually show you where you rank. It'd be a great conversation starter as well. Also on the company dashboard here, you're going to have the ability to enter in and edit information that you've entered in the 7-step process. So like we were talking about before, it's never too late. Just because you maybe didn't have every year worth of data, or you didn't have a complete, maybe you didn't know how the business was structured at the moment, it's never too late to come back in here and change that. This field, all of these fields will open up. All you have to do is click the edit button, and you can change those fields accordingly. You'll see as we scroll down below, there's a section for financial information as well that allows you to edit the financial information that was entered in during the 7-step process. So if we wanted to then go back and enter in 2014 numbers historically or 15, click on that link, and here we go. All of those are available, and as the advisor, you have the access to come in here and enter that information without going through the 7-step process. The thing here I want to show you is even in this section, we are still providing those IntelliTips for you as well. So again, that roadmap, that direction follows you through all the way to the company dashboard. Just above this, you will see a preview of some of the detail that we can deliver in the report. So again, if we're talking about this as an opportunity to present, this KPI scoreboard, it's one of the ways that we've heard it referred to, is a great place to start having a conversation about how that business is performing among others in their industry as well in 13 different categories. We display 12 up here for you. There's 13 outlined in the report itself. But we're going to take a look at how you perform, how your business performs as it applies to return on equity, debt to equity, inventory turnover, interest coverage, fixed asset turnover, so on and so forth. And we'll tell you whether you're riding above the average, if you are below the average, or if you are spot on. And clicking on any one of these features, any one of these percentages, will give you a pop-up window with a little bit of an explanation on what that particular KPI is talking about. Now, when we get down to the report, you'll see that we give you even more detail as far as the KPIs are concerned. At the bottom of the screen, this is where our report library lives and where you can generate a report on a business. So it's very simple. Click that little green button. It'll generate a new report. The PDF is ready to go, and as we just click the download button here, you'll be able to see reports branded for you, your name's on that, date stamped, etc. The beginning of the report is information about the business valuation, our methodologies, coverage of key terms and concepts when it comes to business valuation, all in plain English to help your business owner, client, or prospect better understand what they're actually looking at here, right? So we try to break it down in real-world terms for them. But once we get to page 6 here, this is really the takeaway page, and this is, I'm sure, the page that everybody's familiar with, and this is where we present your 4 different business valuation figures: equity value, asset sale value, enterprise value, and liquidation value. There's a valuation history display in the middle of this page, and if you are looking at using this as an opportunity to offer a continuing service to business owner clients, that valuation history is going to be very, very useful, as you will be able to see over time how that business is growing and trending, just like you would on the company dashboard. It will save that in time here as we generate new reports in the future, and you can refer to that. We'll break down in the rest of the report the financial information that has been taken into consideration when we were calculating this valuation, so all of the information, historical, etc. And then we'll break down all of the KPI information. So each one of these KPIs, all 13 of them, will have a page that looks like this. And we're going to benchmark you against what the industry average looks like, so you'll see that on the right. We'll tell you whether you're overperforming, underperforming, or if you're at the average. And then we'll also break down exactly what we're talking about here with each KPI. What does that KPI mean? Why should it matter? And then give me a real-world example of how that KPI would apply. Right? And you'll see the rest of those KPIs broken down in the rest of our report. 29-page report, and it's available just by clicking at the bottom of the screen. That little green button will generate a brand new one for you. And again, you'll notice it's date and time stamped, so you can keep straight the different reports that you've generated over time. The last takeaway, which is, again, one of the newer features that we've added to our company dashboard, you'll see this little blue navigation bar right underneath the company scoreboard here. This navigation bar allows you to simply just flip in between different sections. So if I wanted to go down to business information, I could click that little button, it'll take me right down. But the biggest takeaway here is this manage area. And in the manage area, you'll see a link that says manage access links. And if I select that, this is going to be the place where you as the advisor have the ability to send out access links to the 7-step process to your business owner client whenever you see fit. Now, this is going to be different than sending out a white label link or sending out a smart link to somebody. This is going to be the opportunity for you to maybe at annual review time or quarterly review time, or if they realize that they have extra information they wanted to supply and they didn't have it available when they first went through the process. The access link will allow you to send out a link to their 7-step process specific to their business and let them just pick up and enter the information that they need to specify in addition. So you can send that out whenever you would want just by clicking that area. Likewise, you'll notice down below you'll see every access link that has been sent out for your client, and you'll have the ability as the advisor to then click this expire code button, and it will change the expiration date to today and make that access link no longer valid, no longer accessible. So this is a great tool in case they accidentally put the wrong email address in, or they sent one out to their their accountant, but they realized, hey, my CFO has this. Can you please kill that access link? Yes, you can always undo that. It's all available here under Manage Access Links. Okay. So this is the company dashboard. Again, specific information on the business that you're currently working with. Now, up in the top right corner of the screen, once you do log into the system, you are seeing a drop-down menu that lets you navigate to a variety of different places that you can go within our system to work with client data on a variety of levels. So the first level I want to show you is our company console. Very simply, this is where you're going to find all of the companies that have gone through the valuation process that you have started or that they have begun. And you'll be able to come in here and easily access company dashboards on any business you'd like. It's as simple as coming in and clicking on those links. Right? Takes you right to the company dashboard, and you can then continue to work with that client. Very easy. On the right-hand side of each one of these areas, you see a couple of little icons to designate quickly for you whether or not they've filled out proper contact information. If you've generated a report, you can even see who that particular company is assigned to if you work in an office that has multiple users, multiple BizEquity users in it. Another new feature on the left-hand side, you'll notice there is a checkmark box for client. This is the start of some functionality that will be coming down the road, but the availability for you to start creating lists and organizing your company console list in a way that will let you see people who you're working with as clients, as prospects, etc. This client check mark is the beginning of that functionality. So at the moment, all it does is lets you throw a check mark next to a company that you consider as your client, as opposed to maybe a prospect or a test client. Feel free to use this for now to just start your process. If you have a number of companies, this can be a great way to start organizing it as we get down the road in the future. you will see some great extra functionality here that will make it easier for you to organize this as we go forward. The last thing I want to point out is the Smart link at the top of the screen. And for those of you who are in those multiple user offices, this is a fantastic tool for anybody who wants to start doing some promotion on their own. This gives you your own personalized white label link. Now, notice it should look similar to what your white label page looks like. So you'll notice mine is my sample. It's treese.bizequity.com, but beyond that, there's a longer string there. That's going to be the differentiator that tells the system that this is me, so that I can send this link out to anybody. The white label page looks exactly the same. The only difference is if I use this as a way to send in emails to clients or prospects that I'm trying to engage, or I have this pushed out in a LinkedIn or a Facebook promotion that I'm trying to do, or if I have my own personal web page that I'm working at, maybe a blog, etc. This is a way that you can specify and provide a link and an entrance point for prospects to start their valuation, complete their valuation, and then it's automatically assigned to you. So you don't have to go through the process of having to go to a manager in your office or be delegated to you some way by somebody in your office. This gives you the ability to automatically have access to it. It knows it's you, so when they complete the process, you get the email notifying you that they've completed that, and then you can follow up on it. So it's a great way to just streamline that process as you go forward. All right. All right. So that's the company console there. Lets you take a look at all that information and access all of your accounts. All right. So the next step here that we're going to take a look at is probably the flashiest feature here on in our system, and that's our prospecting tool. So again, at the top right corner of the screen, we click our little drop-down menu and go to Prospects, search for Prospects, and now we're brought to our recently updated prospecting tool. And again, I'm sure a lot of you have seen this, but if you haven't seen the functionality, it's very easy to utilize. We specify first a location we want to search. It will bring us to that location on the map, similar to what Zillow will provide. I can put in some parameters such as what are the pre-valuation figures of the business I want to work with? Do I want to work with people that are only $500,000 and above in pre-valuation? I can specify those high and lows accordingly. We have a search box here that allows you to specify the NICAS code or the industry that you would like to work with, and we can specify that here again. It's a simple keyword search. And as we do that, you'll notice on the right-hand side, we begin to get results. So we've searched restaurants in the Wayne, PA area that are valued above $500,000, and we have 30 matches. I can scroll through my list here and see those 30 matches, or I could expand my viewing area and actually get more results to come back. So now down at the right-hand side, you'll see there's a little plus and minus area. Minus will zoom out. As I zoom out, you'll notice the matches will change. So now I'm viewing 50 out of 97 matches. All right. So you can control how many matches you're looking at, broaden your aspect, broaden your range, or make your or tighten your range by either zooming in, zooming out, changing the different pre-valuation parameters as well. So notice we just changed it to $1 million or above, and obviously that limits the number of businesses that pop up in our screen. So you can really choose who you want to work with, target that demographic, and find a couple of very quality prospects to then try to engage and begin to engage with business valuation by utilizing this tool. Each one of these prospects is going to have a pre-valuation figure listed in. So you'll notice here we have our valuation estimate. That is driven not off of any information that's been entered into our system by our users. This is information that we get from a variety of different sources. It's publicly available data. Some of it comes from Inc., some of it comes from Forbes, some of it comes from Equifax. But we gather all of this data, and whatever information we have available on this business, we will then run this through our algorithm to populate or calculate a business valuation based on that. Now, obviously, business valuations, like you saw with our 7-step process, there's a lot of detail you can get, a lot of detail you can enter. With publicly available data, we're never going to be able to get that level of detail. So we know that. But it's valuable for us to give you an estimate of where we think that valuation is, but we want to give you a roadmap and let you know how accurate we think that information is based off of the amount of information we have to go from. So you'll notice here on the right-hand side of the screen, if we click those icons, each one of these different records that we pull up will have a little icon next to it. Either it's going to be binoculars, a telescope, or a microscope. And based off of the amount of information that is available to us and that we can put into our algorithm, we're going to give you a level of confidence based off of that and let you know how much information we're working with. So you'll notice the majority of these are going to be our binoculars, right? We're going to be 50%, 55% or more confident that that is an accurate valuation. If you see that microscope icon, that lets you know that we have quite a bit of really, really high quality information that we can go from. And a lot of that information comes directly from Forbes, Inc. It's, we're able to, Cortera spending data is also in there as well, but it's really high quality data and we have a lot of information to go off of. So we have a 75% or better level of confidence that we're giving you a very accurate business estimate, right? Obviously, this is a place for you to start. We want to give you a roadmap and show you who to go after and put you in that comfort zone. And as you get that valuation, as you begin that and start to engage with that client, you're going to see that entering all the information you can enter is going to give you a much more accurate valuation just because you have all of that data available. Okay. The other ranking that you'll see here in each one of these is another new feature that was added it's going up on a couple of months ago now, but you'll see A's or B's on the right-hand side. Those are going to rank the level of contact information detail that we can provide for you. So if we click into one of these A's, so you'll notice if we click into one, if there's a button that'll say View Contact Information, so Open Contact Detail. Once we do that, we're now going to not only give you the valuation estimate, but we'll try to provide you a quality key contact for that business. We'll try to provide you a telephone number, mailing address, number of employees, year established, legal status, and sometimes we'll even be able to provide you a web address or even an email address for that particular key contact. So for an A-level ranking, you'll notice we're providing you with a number of extra pieces of data. A-level is going to say we're going to be able to give you a lot of information. So here we have the president's name, we have a phone number, we also have a URL address. A's will normally give you a URL address and or an email address as well. If we close that out and choose a B contact, we'll show you the level of detail that we get off of a B. So here's Galifty's Restaurant. Notice there's some information missing, but a B level is still going to give us a key contact's name. We're going to give you a phone number as well. But notice we're missing URL address or an email address, and we don't have their title available. So again, giving you an idea of what kind of information you're working with, the contact record, classification, either A, B, or no ranking, will let you know what level of information we're able to provide. The one thing you'll notice as you go through the prospecting tool and start looking at different verticals, for example, level of offices of dentists. Dentists, medical professionals, rarely do we see contact information when it comes to email addresses for them. But if you approach contractors or other service industry, independent service industry folks, you will see that their email address is typically available. If not, an email address is always a URL address for you to get in contact from them as well. So great opportunity for you to network, not only just getting through the door for business owners, but we have a lot of people who utilize this for expansion of their 401k business that they do, and even as an opportunity to interact with some key level contacts at these businesses to just simply offer a personal financial planning. This is a great way to get through the door to them as well. Utilize this as a way to expand your social networking capabilities. Look at other verticals that you may have worked with in the past. Maybe there's some other businesses and other industries that align right with them that you may have already established some kind of a connection with them. They can give you a nice warm introduction or a warm lead-in. Utilize this contact information and the prospecting tool to open those doors that way. Be creative with it. There's a lot of ways you can utilize it, and we've seen our advisors utilize it in some of the ways I've just mentioned, but there's many other ways we can use this information as well. Okay? So the last section we want to talk about here is also available up at the top right corner of the screen, and that is our latest edition, and that is our Success Center. we've sent out a variety of, or a series of communications about this already. But if you haven't seen it, spend some time in here, come and check it out. This is version 1 of something that both Christine and I in the success team here have been really hard at work talking to advisors, finding out what they're looking for, and trying to provide and create the information that's going to help make it easier for them and their staff to better position business valuation to prospects, current clients, as well as using this as a continued service tool. So you'll notice the way we've separated this is those 3 different models are listed out: prospecting, engagement, and continued service. And each one of these sections has a variety of different resources that you can utilize. So if we scroll down here, you'll see each section will be accompanied by a video. We'll talk about some best practices when utilizing it in each one of those areas. We'll provide you client materials in each one of those sections. So we've provided some marketing tools for you. So if you do, if you provide materials in your office, or you want takeaways that you could leave somebody that you maybe had a meeting with, these are great tools for you. They are not BizEquity branded. They are made so that you can brand these for your own business, distribute those as your own, but they'll cover things such as why have a business valuation? How is our data secure? Why should you feel safe to put your information into our system? And also, what is the evaluation process all about? We have some great conversation starter questions and conversation building questions here in our Building Great Conversations handout. We also have best practices outlined in social media. We have some campaign examples as far as emails are concerned, and these are some great examples to take a look at as well. If you're looking at some verbiage about how you would best communicate a business valuation and the importance of it to somebody that you're trying to engage. So we've broken this down for you, and this is a great start for us, but hopefully you find this is helpful. Some of our advisors have found this already, those campaign examples to help you better communicate that. Okay. We've also included a couple of sample reports as well. So if you just wanted to download an example of what a business valuation could look like, simply select that. You can download those and show them to a client. They are just generically branded. Some of our advisors have taken these as well and just entered them into their system, their own system, and generated reports that are branded for them as well, and they utilize those. There's a number of ways to use it, but there's some great information here. These are all based off of actual businesses, and again, it's anonymized data, but it's meant to be a realistic example for you to put in front of somebody and make it really easy for you to give something to them that is very relatable and get them excited about business valuation. So that is the Success Center. We've covered our 7-step process. We've looked at the Save for Later, Delegate features, and discussed a number of best practices when utilizing this along the way. We've looked at the client dashboard, discussed the report, and also talked about prospecting and some of the resources that we have available. All right, and that concludes the questions here for today. So again, I appreciate your time. We'll send out a recorded link to this so you can review this again or send this to other people that you want to see. But again, keep checking back, and if there's anything we can help you out with, please don't hesitate to let us know. Again, the email address, support@bizequity.com. We're always here to help. Again, have a great afternoon, and thanks for joining us.